but when I'm writing, I sit down, and that's why you have that feeling. So, how you doing? I have notes that I speak from. You won't be able to tell once it starts speaking from them. So how many people follow me on Facebook? Woo! How many on Twitter? Fewer. That's good. No, really, because I think a lot of people just sign on Facebook to be pissed off. So, you know, I put more my edgy stuff on Twitter, but, you know, thank y'all for doing that. I was in Atlanta yesterday and began saying y'all, so I haven't made my, I'm not sure if Raleigh is the South, but
yeah.
Yeah. You can sort of, if you want to be, you can be the South. Yeah, so I mean, y'all from that. No, oh, bless your hearts. So, anyway, so I don't think I have to tell you I don't read. Everybody knows I don't read. I mean, I read, but not aloud to people, because I suck at it. But, so what would happen was when I'm writing a book about 13th century England or 13th century Venice or 19th century Paris, often funny things that come to mind don't fit in the book. So you have to turn the flash on that off. Yeah, it's on. Yeah. I kind of felt like I was being attacked by robots. So I would save all those things up that didn't fit in the book, and then I would go on book tour, and then I would tell them to you. But now I have Twitter and Facebook, and so I really don't have much to talk about now. And as you can probably tell, it's a little rough. I had lost my voice earlier on this tour, and so I want to thank all of you people who suggested I look to see if it had rolled under the couch. And one person told me to, did you try turning it off and turning it back on again? Which is always good advice. But I'm kind of fixed now, so we're okay with that. But you know, because so many of us are Facebook people, you know, a couple weeks ago I posted on Facebook a picture of a squirrel with a giant dong, and my Facebook traffic went up 292% in one day. What is wrong with you people? There's a woman named Christine Steele that wrote me, if giggling over a giant squirrel dong is wrong, then I don't want to be right. And I thought, okay, now I know my people. What they're like. Pardon me. So, I'm here, I'll sign your books tonight. I signed a bunch in the back, like a couple hundred in the back. I signed 2,000 books for the mail order thing that you guys already know about. Before I left on tour. I had only done that one time before, and it was at a warehouse outside of Seattle. And I walked in, and there were pallets of books stacked everywhere. And there were 4 guys in there ready to do the flapping, the giving and the taking away. And a table and so forth. And I walk in with my escort. We get an escort in every city, not as fun as it sounds. It's a media escort whose job is to get you from one place to another without being lost. And so we walk in, and the guy has a big handful of Sharpies, and he slams them down on the desk, and he goes, "The record's 800 an hour." And you're 10. And my escort, without missing a beat, goes, "Duh, 6 letters." I said, "Whatever they pay you, it's not enough." And the guy said, "And she did it with 2 tiny dogs on her lap."
Aww.
And I said, "That's her secret." It's Taoist alchemy. She can do 800 an hour because she takes the life force out of those little guys. And after she signed a bunch of books, there's just 2 little dry, desiccated, little fur with their little inbred teeth just all won't fit in their mouth, just kind of crunchy little, and they throw them in the corner.
No.
And they put 2 more dogs there. And he starts signing again. Just Amy and a Sharpie and 2 little dogs humping on her lap. I know I said they were desiccated, but it's a dry hump. Hey. I wrote that book for Phoenix, and they love humidity jokes. Because it's mythical to them. They've never seen humidity. So they love any time you mention dry, it's like you've mentioned their family. We hate them. Yeah, you guys in North Carolina are like, we have humidity. It's not funny here. Anyway, so I went in to sign those 2,000 books 2 weeks ago, and my alarm that tells me to stop talking just went off. Any questions? Normally we start at 7 o'clock, and then this would buzz, and then I would stop, and it would be this seamless transition into the question and answer period, but I guess it won't happen now. So anyway, I went in to sign these books, and we went on for an hour, and I said, stop, and they counted, and I said, how many of these? They said 906. I know, which is good, but also, no animals were harmed. In the signing of those books. So I'll sign your books today, and they'll give you all, if they haven't given you all kinds of rules, there's all kinds of rules, you know. So I hope you practiced your gymnastics and so forth, and stretched. Oh my God. You don't really have to stretch. That would be kind of funny if you did, if you guys were all in line. It's author size. So I realize that I'm wearing the shirt that says San Francisco on it. That's because it's an away jersey, and I am away, and it also has my name on the back. I went to a game a couple of weeks ago with a friend of mine who is kind of famous, you know, and I said I'm not famous, and so because I always, when we have lunch, I have to sit facing out, and he sits facing the wall because people might recognize him, you know. He's not that famous, but he's pretty famous. He's been on Letterman a bunch of times. And so, but I always say, I'll sit facing out because you're famous. So we're leaving the ballpark, and I was wearing this jersey, and somebody comes and goes, are you Christopher Moore? Oh, I love your books. No. And my friend goes, see, you're famous? And I was like, dude, I have my name on my shirt. That's not famous. You know, I'm okay with it, but you know, don't try and make me feel better because of that. So anyway, I have to wear it because my wife gave it to me for Valentine's Day. So
Aww.
yeah, she's the boss of me. And so in San Francisco, I don't know if you guys heard. I'll tell you some stuff about San Francisco because I have this book and I'll talk about it. So did you guys know about the Bat Kid?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I have to talk about it even though you do, because otherwise we got nothing really. So the Bat Kid is this kid named Miles Scott. He's 5 years old. He has leukemia, and his make-a-wish wish is to be the Batman. And the city of San Francisco spends $120,000. They make him a Batman costume. They paint a Lamborghini up like a Batmobile. They tie a woman to the cable car tracks, and they have Miles come and rescue her. They changed the name of the San Francisco Chronicle to the Gotham Chronicle for a day, and had a headline that covered the whole front page that said "Bat Kid saves Gotham." They had him save Lucille, the Giants' mascot, from the Joker, and throw the Joker in jail. They let Miles drive the Batmobile on the field at AT&T Park, which I feel is somewhat irresponsible. So all of this happened, and the entire square of San Francisco was filled with people cheering on the Bat Kid. You know, so whenever you go, I can't believe we haven't nuked them yet. You know, nice. So, but I have to tell you this other story now. A few years ago, I got this note from this kid named Oliver, and he's asking me very specific craft questions about writing stories. And I was like, And he says, well, I really need to know this because Stephen King has agreed to edit one of my stories and give me notes on it. And I was like, oh, Big Steve, okay, I'll answer your questions then. So I sent it off to him. And a few years later, I was doing an event in Pasadena, and this young man, 16 years or old or so, comes up and he says, hello, my name's Oliver. And I said, I have no porridge for you. As it turns out, not every English kid named Oliver is starving, so my bad. And he says, no, I've written you all these things, and he proceeds to tell me about all these books that I should read so I would be a better writer than I am. And I said, oh, thank you, Oliver. Whatever happened to your Stephen King story? And he says, well, it was a Make-A-Wish grant. And I said, oh. And he said, and I got better. I said, oh. But I don't think it was Stephen King that said, you know, okay, I'm not going to do it. I think it was the Make-A-Wish people said, well, we're going to take your wish and give it to a kid who needs it. Aww. And the reason I'm telling you that story, I mean, he's got better. Gave him porridge. And but the reason I was telling you that story is that Miles Scott is in remission. Yay! And he owes us 120 grand. So anytime you feel bad about like your student loan or anything, he's 5, and he owes us $120,000. Even if he sells a Batmobile, this kid has a huge weight hanging over his shoulders. I don't know why I told you that. I just thought it was funny. So anyway, I wrote this book, but no, I told you. I don't remember why I told you that. I just thought it was funny. So I wrote this book about. I don't know. Has anybody read Fool? Yeah, so most of you. So you guys will do good on the test. So, so I wrote. I don't know. You're probably saying when you heard that I wrote another Shakespeare-based book, why won't you write more vampire stuff? Or we need stuff about lost lizards and it didn't start as a Shakespeare book. You know, I wasn't just trying to be mean to you. You know, it started as a book about Venice. I got a letter, an email a few years ago, and it was from Italy, strangely enough, and they said, will you come and speak at the Mantova Literary Festival? Mantua to us. And I said, oh, I don't know. They said, well, we'll pay your way over and give you a place to stay, and we treat authors better than